Konrad. I'm with Stepp Manufacturing. We're doing a demo today on our Asphalt Recycler, the SRM 10x120. And what you're going to see in the demo, we're actually taking virgin millings, or millings with very little asphalt in it, loading it into the machine via the conveyor. I just happen to be today loading it by hand. There's other options in terms of bobcats, loaders, dumping it from the truck, that sort of thing, right into the conveyor. We'll conveyor it up into the pre-hopper. From there it drops into the mixing machine where it'll start mixing and getting heated and added oil to it. The material that we're using today is very wet. There's actually water running out of the material. So you're going to start to see some steam coming off from the water evaporating out of the product. It's going to stay in the hopper approximately 10 minutes. And then we'll dump it out and see what we got for temperatures and see what we got for consistencies, and then verify how much oil we want to add into the next batch. This is material that we've got that's available from our local asphalt plant. It was 20 below zero or 0 degrees outside when we actually pulled it out of the pile. So it is very wet, and it's relatively thin, but it's wet in terms of moisture content. That's what we will be using in the recycler today. Set up to be able to handle what we call a coal chute on the back of your dump truck. Cut out on the back of the dump truck with a manual lever on it to be able to open and close and allow material to go into the chute. Material will go into the chute and the auger will feed it as fast as it's dumping out of the truck up and into the hopper itself, into the preheat hopper. Hot oil pump. Okay, that's reverse. Center. Hit your reset. Okay, now it's zeroed out. Rotate your valve. So, now pump. Forward. Yep, forward again. Watch it count up. Okay, rotate your valve. There will be a label on there that tells you what position. Right. Unfortunately, that takes
put the pump back in forward position.
Yeah, just let her keep circulating. Okay, the control panel is basically broke up into 3 areas of operation, 4 with this pump tack. This section here deals with the hot oil controls. This is for the melting tank. This is for the hot oil tank on the other side that runs the kettle. You've got your thermostat control. If you set the temperature, you've got your digital readout. You have your call for heat light. Whenever that light is on, the burner should be running. You have your main power switcher turning that on and off. That's always on. This part of the control panel deals with the burners themselves, with the burners for the hopper, for the mixing hopper. You have a timer, which is a count up timer, that automatically controls the 2 burners on the mixing chamber when it's in the timer position. You have a manual position, which you control your 2 burners manually, or you go to time, hit the reset. Sets the reset timer down to 0. The second number here tells you what the timer is set for as far as the burners themselves are concerned. And that will allow the burners to run for 10 minutes. In this case here, it shuts the burners off. The timer will continue to count. The last digit we have over here is the infrared scanner, which tells us the temperature of the material inside the hopper. The last section of the control panel here is dealing with the hydraulic controls. The hydraulic controls, you have your mixers, mix and reverse or dump. The mixer has the high and low speed for how fast the mixer itself runs. You have your conveyor controls, forward and reverse. You have your hopper doors, open and close. And then you have your hot oil pump, the product pump, forward and reverse. Over here you have your counter that tells you how much material is being pumped into the mix exchanger. No set screws in this bearing germ.
Yes.
Okay? That's so that the plug mill and the chamber can expand at different rates. Everything is locked on the other end.
And this end is get the expansion. That shaft can actually slide back
and forth in that bearing journal. And you will actually see a change throughout the course of hot and heating and cooling.
What do we got here, Bruce?
Pea gravel here.
Nice.
Make some stuff with virgin mix rather than something that's got oil in it already.
Nice wet pea gravel.
Get some snow in there. Good Minnesota pea gravel.
Good looking mix.
Yep.
This is the pea gravel.
Yep. Straight pea gravel and oil.
312 degrees. That looks great.
See it flow out a little bit?
Yeah. So this is 10 minutes of the material being in the plug mill and the oil. 10 minutes.
10 minutes with the heat on.
Okay. Stuff looks nice.
Ready for the next one? Yeah, I'm ready. You're up there, Charles.
So we have in this machine right now the amount of material that is held in the hopper, which is approximately 10 cubic feet is what the hopper holds. Mind you, it's about 25 degrees outside.
Put this back to low. That's the mix. And dump her in.
Hopper door. Okay, we're going to open up the chute gate here on the top.
I'll open it.
Go ahead. Here you can actually see the material being My name is Mark Reeves and I'm the president of Pavement Technologies International. I'm here today with Bruce Konrad, sales manager for Stepp Manufacturing. Bruce is going to talk to you about the Stepp Asphalt Recycler, tell you some of the ins and outs, features of the machine. Bruce?
Thank you, Mark. As Mark said, this is a Stepp Asphalt Recycler. It's a model 10 by 120. The 10 stands for 10 cubic feet, which is what a hopper batch will make. The 120 stands for the kettle that's on the side that will hold the liquid to be able to add into your product. The idea behind the machine is that you can take aggregate chunks, you can take aggregate millings, or you can take virgin material, which is material with no oil in it, be able to add it to the machine, heat it up, get rid of your moisture, that sort of stuff in the product, bust up the chunks if you have bigger chunks of material in there, add fresh oil to it, which is really what makes the system unique, and be able to come out the back side of the unit as a quote-unquote fresh hot mix, enabling you to do it at any time of the year with any type of material. The conveyor is designed to convey material from a loading vehicle, such as a dump truck, that sort of thing, through a grain chute. You can actually get this filled up, and that conveyor will take the material at a rate that will actually exceed what you can put it into the hopper here. So you have the ability to dump, get it up into the hopper, into the premix hopper, and start heating your material before you actually want to dump it back into the next load. So the loading conveyor will load the material up into the preheat hopper, which is located on the top of the machine. The preheat hopper will then drop it into the lower hopper on the bottom. So once you, in the morning for example, your first load, you'll fill the hopper, drop it into the bottom, and you'll have your second hopper up on top, the preheat hopper, ready to go for the next load. So you've always got two loads ready to go. The whole system is powered by a diesel engine. It's a 3-cylinder Kubota engine, diesel fuel. You've got a electronic start, obviously, with a glow plug system to assist your starting in the morning and cold starts. Engine enclosure on here is to protect it against rocks and debris. It also helps as a noise reduction to the operator. Battery box comes with an automotive type 12-volt battery. The fuel tank is located right underneath the engine, running diesel fuel, whatever, number 1, number 2, you can run a blend, whatever it is you're getting out of your fuel tanks at the time. The diesel fuel tank will maintain fuel for the engine. It also maintains fuel for your burners. So you got one common tank, you don't have a series of different tanks that you need to fill. There's a gauge located on the tank so that you know where you're at, full, medium, that type of thing. And then you have a throttle on here also so that you can adjust the speed of your engine based upon the amount of power or the amount of horsepower that you're doing with the recycler itself. Back on the back of the engine we have our hydraulic pump. It's a load sense pump, which means that it's pumping material or pumping oil depending upon what is desired for work on the rest of the unit. That's direct coupled right up against the engine. Hydraulic tank is located here. The tank is large enough and big enough so that you have proper cooling for the amount of work that's being done. So we don't need to add an additional oil cooler onto the system to maintain our temperatures of our hydraulic oil. The next thing in the back, this would be your kettle. This is a 120-gallon flue style kettle. What that means is that there's a tube that runs down in through the center of the tank where the burner fires into. It goes down, comes back, and exits out through here in the front. It's heated by a 12-volt diesel burner, forced air burner, very similar to a gun-style burner that you probably have in your house. The main difference is this is 12-volt. There's an igniter in there, there's a blower to bring air into it, a fuel pump to bring fuel, so you have proper fuel-air mixture, and there's also a CAD eye in there that sees the flame, so should you have a flame out position or where the flame would go out, that eye sees that and it shuts off the fuel supply. Safety feature. Again, it's a flue style kettle, so what that means is you have to run a product in there that's going to be acceptable to direct fired heat. We can't run rubberized asphalt in there, but we can run emulsions or cutbacks. That type of product in a direct fired situation. It has thermostat controls on it, which I'll show you. The controls are located at the operator station on the other side. Like I said, the unit has thermostat controls, so you have the ability to change products or put whatever type of product you want in there, and the burner system will come on and off as it calls for heat. So if you have a 150 degree product in there, you can set your thermostat to 150 degrees and it will maintain that throughout the day. If you go to more of a cutback product, higher temperature, 350 degrees, again, you just reset the thermostat to be able to accommodate that. This out. You do have a large loading chute on here. So if you're running packaged products, some of them are in bigger tins, you have the ability to set the product on here, shut the door, and then as the product splashes into the asphalt, the operator is protected from the splash. So that's how we want to load the product. Open up the door, set your product on here, drop it inside the kettle. Stepp Manufacturing has been building asphalt maintenance equipment since 1942. And we've taken all the different ideas through patch trailers, tar kettles, oil jacketed kettles, recyclers, and built it into a system that we feel is very dependable and user friendly. Some of those things, as an example, are a valve on the kettle. It gives you the ability, if you want to change products or you just need to have a pot of hot asphalt to go someplace else, you do have the ability to drain the kettle out without going through the pumping system. This is an inside closing valve, so it closes off inside the kettle, so you don't have to be out here torching your valve out to heat it up so that you can get material to come out of it. A little safer operation, a little safer for the customer. There's also an ability to put a layer, so if you're on a job site or in your yard or whatever, somebody won't come out in the middle of the night, open this out, and have tar dripping off all over your pavement. Standard thermometer inside the kettle. This will give you a manual reading as compared to the digital electronic reading also. It's just a second temperature probe. We also have an option or availability to put an electric overnight heater in there. It's a 110 volt heater with a thermostat on it. Enables you to plug it in at night and help preheat that kettle so that it will be up in temperature so you don't have to wait as long in the morning for that kettle to thaw out. This kettle design has actually been around for many years, dating back to the 60s, where highway departments and cities would use tar for crack filling in the roads, where they use a direct fire material. So basically what we did was we take that technology from back in the 60s and the 70s, and we're able to implement it onto the machine. Obviously you have updates such as the electronics in the burner, the diesel heating system, the thermostat controls, that sort of thing that are updated in the unit to be able to make it a safer operation for the operators. But like I said, basically it's still the same type of kettle that's been around for many years. The pumping system is also something that's not real unique. It's been around for a long time. It's just modified to be able to handle the operations that we're trying to do with the recycler itself. The pump is located at the rear here, and it's submerged inside the kettle. So when your product is hot, your pump is hot, and you don't have to worry about that material plugging up in the pump due to cold or cooler ambient temperatures. So we can run 350 degree asphalt inside the kettle, and because the pump is inside there, it's all maintained, it's hot, and we don't have to worry about it plugging up. The pump, again, is hydraulically operated, and that we'll show you on the control panel on the other side of the machine. Hydraulically operated, electronically activated, so you have electronic switches versus the old manual style levers. And what the pump's job is to take asphalt out of the kettle and circulate it and dump it into the hopper over here where you're doing your mixing and your heating of asphalt. So it gives us the ability, and what makes us a little bit unique from the other people out there, it gives us the ability to add fresh asphalt or fresh liquid into the material to be able to rejuvenate the material and come out with a hot mix. Also, you have the ability through the tack wand system to either crack fill, or if you were doing a cutout area, it gives you the opportunity to tack the hole or tack the cutout prior to adding your mix. That is one of the unique features of the unit, is that you do have the ability to run a tack through a cutout. Basically what the operator will do is bring the wand out and be able to tack a patch, a cutout, a hole, whatever it is that he needs to do prior to putting the material down. The tack is going to give him better adherence to the hole. Again, something that's relatively unique to Stepp. The additional added features with this tar kettle, other than just tacking or adding material into the mixing chamber, you could actually go out and crack fill with this. You'd have to use a direct fired style material to be able to do that with, but you do have the ability to go out with the hose, change your tip on it so you got a crack filling tip, and be able to go out and crack fill cracks. Along with the pumping system, you need to be able to clean out the lines at the end of the night, whether it's just the material that's going back into the kettle, or if the operator elects to use the hose and wand system, we need to evacuate that material out of there. One of the things that's nice is the fact that the operator has the ability to reverse the pump and evacuate as much material as they can out of the hose and wand system. The idea is we want that material to get back into the tank, okay? But we still need to be able to flush that additional residue out of the system. Otherwise, what happens is it melts and it comes down to the lower part of the hose, and now you end up with a plug up there the next time you go to use it. So what we put on here is a flush tank so that you can put your environmentally safe solvent in here and be able to flush the pump and the hose out. And then the idea is you don't spray it on the road or spray it out. You need to be able to capture that product and take it to a disposal place where you can dispose of it. So that all recirculates back into this tank. So the operator has the ability to clean it, recirculate it back in the tank. He can run that material 3, 4, 5 times before he needs to dispose of it. Here's your discharge chute. You have 2 ways to be able to discharge. You can discharge, as in the position we're in right now, right onto the ground, or you could discharge into a Bobcat bucket or something like that. It'll shoot right out onto the ground. Or you can lower the shovel platform, and then you'll be able to shovel from here into a pothole or into your cutout. This material will drop onto here, and then you can shovel from there. Door open. You also have the ability to lock the door in a closed position when you're in the mixing. The system has the ability to sense temperature inside the hopper. Basically what that is an infrared heating system that reads from here into the hopper with a readout, again, over on the control panel. Something that's relatively unique to the Stepp Recycler. Enables the operator to see what the actual temperature of the mix is before he dumps it out onto the platform. The recycler has 2 burners on it. One in the rear that fires this way and exits out through the top. Another one on the other side that fires from the front to the back and then exits out again that way. Both burners are interchangeable. They're 12-volt diesel, just like we talked about on the kettle. The components are interchangeable on any burner. Most of the components, or most of your items, are componentized, and you have the ability to easily disconnect and replace a part. You don't have to go back in, rewire, solder, that sort of thing. You need to replace the part, you come in, the new part, snap it back together, and you're back on your way. At Stepp, we've always used the Beckett 12-volt burner. It's made in Elra, Ohio. It's a 12-volt burner. We've been using them in our industry since they've actually been introduced about 10, 12 years ago. Had super success with them. One of the things that we found over the course of being able to use these burners is that some of the components are going to be a maintenance item for you. The primary controller, as an example. And what that is basically the brains between the thermostats and the burner itself. It's a potted assembly, and it has to be replaced. So we've implemented into it the ability to quick change it. The dealers or the distributors have the ability to have these there, send them out to a customer, and get it to the guy so that he can switch it out. Now it becomes a 5-minute switch rather than a couple-hour repair maintenance disaster. Everything on the unit is going to be, again, American-made type components. Your temperatures are going to be in Fahrenheit readings. Your pressures are set at gallons per hour. So no metric type components on the machine at all in terms of threads, measurements, that type of thing. We're all trying to keep it American made so that we can give you something that's easy for us to understand, and we don't have to try and intermingle between the two. Light system is all sealed beam lighting. So again, you have the ability to interchange in quick disconnect to change bulbs or that sort of thing, and built right into the fender, so it's protected from people won't knock it off. If you hit it with a bobcat or something like that, there's nothing sticking out in the open where you could possibly unhook it with a piece of equipment. Coming around to the operator side of the machine, a couple items I want to point out to you. First of all is our exhaust stack. The stack is up in the air, keeps the smoke and the exhaust away from the operator, from safety and the breathing and that sort of thing. This also has a damper on it so that you can adjust the damper just as if you would in your fireplace at home to direct the amount of exhaust that will come out of the system. The idea behind that is once we shut this damper off, it helps maintain that heat inside the kettle so that we're trying to be more efficient with our heat system. Again, available right from the operator station. This lever here controls the valve that diverts the material or the oil into the hopper. Easily reachable and right in conjunction with your control panel. The hopper itself is designed to expand and contract. As we put heat into this thing, the metal is going to expand. It's just a natural phenomenon. So the hopper itself has the ability to expand and contract with the heating process, which also is conjunction with your auger. That has the ability to expand and contract. The whole top is removable, and that's removable so that you can go inside and do maintenance on the inside of the unit, whether it be paddles on the pug mill, replacing a liner, those types of things. All that stuff is removable through the top of the unit. You got 6 bolts and you can take the whole thing right off on the top. Fenders, 12 gauge fender, sturdy, heavy duty fender. Again, clearance lights built into it. Goodyear radial tires. Axles come out of Ohio, they're American made. The control panel is located over here on what we call the curb side of the machine. Basically, this is where all your operations are going to take place. First example we'll give to you is located right over here. This is your tack tank control center. You have a power switch to turn the burner on and off. You have a thermostat, which you have the ability to adjust to whatever temperature that you want to heat your material to. And this is a digital readout, which is actually going to give you the temperature of the material in the tank. All the components are located over here. Next thing we have is the components on the bottom for your hydraulics. And we have basically 5 functions. First function is the forward and reverse capability of your liquid asphalt pump. You would have that in the forward position and then set your valves on the rest of the machine as to where you want it to go. Back to tank, out through the hose, or into the material hopper itself. Next one over is our hopper doors up on the top. This gives us the ability to open and close the pre-hopper, which drops the material into the hopper itself. Forward and reverse position on that. The conveyor switch, you can run that in the forward, neutral, or reverse position. The mixer in the pug mill, we have a low speed, which is going to be the position that you're going to run when you're actually mixing and heating product. We have a high speed, which is your discharge speed. So it gives you a faster discharge of the material to be able to get it into your cutout or your pothole in a quicker operation. And then also you have the mixing position, and then, the mix position, and then the dump position. Again, all your controls are located right here, so the operator, when he needs to monitor something or change something, all those apparatuses are here. We don't have to go to different parts of the machine to be able to put our change our controls. We have 2 power switches for the burners on the mixer itself. You have one in the front and one in the rear. The operator can choose to run both of them or run one at a time, depending upon what he's looking for in terms of speed in his heating cycle. Once you create a recipe in terms of, I'm putting in this type of product and I need to leave it in here X amount of time to come out with X amount of temperature, you just set this timer and the burner will stay on for that period of time. As an example, we're going to heat up a batch and we want to get it to 300 degrees, and we know that it takes 8 minutes to get there. We set the timer at 8 minutes, we put this up into the timer mode, it'll run for 8 minutes and then the burners will shut off. So when you get your recipe and you get into the mode of the right materials and the right temperatures and what oil you're putting into this place, you'll set your timer accordingly. As an example, let's say we have it set for 8 minutes. And so what you'll do is you'll come in, you'll set your timer flip the switch on, and the burners will run for that 8 minutes and then shut off. It acts as a safety feature for the operator should he forget to walk away or whatever. The burner's only going to stay on for so long, and it also helps to regulate the amount of temperature that you're getting into that material. So you timer here, that runs the burners on the hopper only. This is your temperature gauge here. Can you zoom in on that? This is actually going to tell you the temperature of the preheat hopper itself, or of the mixing hopper. Okay, up in the front of the machine here, this is your main pug mill shaft here. It goes in, hydraulic motor connected to the shaft. Again, all your solenoids are connected to the switches over here. So these switches are activating the solenoid to be able to turn on or off, in this case the pug mill, or forward or reverse the pug mill. The solenoids are here. You've got another cylinder up here. This is your opening and closing of the hopper pre-bin up on the top. So, solenoid again connected to the switch located over in the control panel. Hydraulic pressure gauge to see where your pressures are at in the system. Down here in the bottom we have 3 fuel filters. Each filter is designed for each burner. So you have a filter going to each burner, and those filters, the insides are replaceable. So you can replace the felts and the filters on the inside without having to replace the whole filter itself. Each burner also has its own suction off of the fuel tank. So each one's got its own pump that's located on the burner itself, and each one's got its own suction with disconnect valve going through a filter and then over to whichever burner it's calling for. The fuel tank is bolted in. That can be replaceable. The fuel tank also has a doubler on it, so if the tank were to rip apart or come apart from the bracket, it will rip off of the doubler, not rip off the tank. Light system for the trailer lights. You can get whatever light plug will match up to your pickup. This one here happens to be a 6-prong. You can get a 7-prong. And everything's in a sealed package. So you come into a junction box here where all your connections are done in the box and then sealed back up. And then from there, it's run through a cable, one solid cable to the back lights. Less maintenance, less rust and corrosion problems, that type of thing. The running gear, you have 2 6,000-pound axles. They're a drop leaf axle. They're Dexters. They're made out of in America. Standard unit has electric brakes on all 4 wheels with a breakaway kit. This unit here comes with a pintle hitch. You can get a pintle or a 2 5/16 ball. You do have adjustability within the hitch so that you can have a level level towing to any vehicle. Safety chains are standard. You also have the ability to adjust the length of the safety chain depending upon how far you are away from your truck so that the chains aren't dragging on the ground.